and welcome to 5 Minutes French Grammar Fixes. Bonjour et bienvenue à 5 Minutes French Grammar Fixes. Today, let's have a look at how we can change a French verb into the conditional tense to express wishes, possibilities, hypotheses, doubt, advice, suggestions. Aujourd'hui, on va regarder comment exprimer des souhaits, des possibilités, des hypothèses, du doute, des conseils et des suggestions. So, the conditional tense is your would in English. In fact, you already know it for one verb in French. I would like, je voudrais. Also, when you say things like, he would buy an Aston Martin if you had the money, but also when you say things like, they could learn French, you should not listen to your teacher. I'll come back to these two examples in minutes, but for the time being, let's have a look at the verbs which have would in them. Now, if you already know your verb endings for the imperfect tense, you will find this tense quite easy. For regular verb, all you have to do is start with the infinitive form of the verb, and remember the infinitive form is the verb as you find it in the dictionary, ending in either er, ir, or ari. So you take that infinitive verb and you add the imperfect endings, like you can see in this table. So, je jouerai, tu jouerais, etc. So basically, your conditional rule is a combination of the rules for the future tense and the imperfect tense. For irregular verbs, it's best to check the stem of the verb before you stick the correct ending on. Again, if you have learnt a few common irregular verbs in the future tense, you'll find this tense easy because you'll be using the same stem. For example, you've got they will take the train, ils prendront le train, so that's a future tense. They would take the train as a conditional, ils prendraient le train. You can see the stem is the same here, P-R-E-N-D-R. Okay. Now the table that you've got on this slide, you can see the similarities between the future tense and the conditional tense. Okay, so have a good look at that. Noticing that for I, je, the verb sounds exactly the same in the future tense and in the conditional tense. So whether you say I will dance, je danserai, or I would dance, je danserai, it sounds the same, danserai. Context will tell you which one it is. But when you're writing, it is particularly important to pay attention to this, as it could lead to confusion if you put the wrong ending on. So notice the difference between je serai content si tu viens, I'll be happy if you come, and that's a certainty, and je serais content si tu venais, I would be happy if you came, it's a possibility. I know it sounds a little bit subtle, but don't you want to be subtle? How about the could and should that I mentioned earlier on? Could is in fact the conditional of can. Now, I know it could also be a past, so you have to be careful with that. It depends on the context. As for should, you must use the verb devoir, to have to, in the conditional tense. So, they could learn French, ils pourraient apprendre le français. You should not listen to your teacher, tu ne devrais pas écouter ton prof, or rather, you should listen, tu devrais écouter ton prof. So, here are some important irregular verbs in the conditional tense that you should learn. Okay. So, if you need your memory to be refreshed about the future tense or the imperfect tense, have a look at my 5 minutes French grammar fixes on future tenses and also the imperfect tense intermediate.